When a woman reaches the point where she truly has no one but God, something powerful begins to take shape inside her. It is not the end of her story. It is the beginning of her transformation. There comes a season in life when everything familiar starts to fade. Friends disappear, relationships fall apart, and the voices that once filled her world slowly grow quiet. The nights feel longer, the silence feels heavier, and the only voice left is the quiet whisper of God. But what many women do not realize is that this moment is not punishment, it is preparation. Isolation is not emptiness. Silence is not wasted time. Loneliness can become the soil where God plants something eternal. The first thing a woman learns in this season is that when people walk out, God walks in. Sometimes God allows people to leave so He can have her full attention. When the phone stops ringing and the conversations disappear, she begins to notice something she could not hear before: the presence of God. The Apostle Paul once wrote that when he stood alone, no one supported him, yet the Lord stood with him. That same truth becomes real for many women. When everyone else steps away, God steps closer. What once felt like abandonment slowly reveals itself as alignment. God removes distractions so she can recognize the one relationship that will never fail. Just as Jesus spent time in the wilderness before stepping into His purpose, many women experience a season of quiet preparation before their calling becomes clear. The wilderness is not a punishment, it is God's workshop. The second lesson she learns is that when the noise stops, she can finally hear God's whisper. A loud life makes it difficult to hear a gentle God. So sometimes God clears the room. Relationships change. Messages go unanswered. The busyness of life slows down. In that stillness, something sacred begins to grow. Her prayers become deeper, not because she feels obligated, but because she feels desperate for God's presence. Scripture becomes more than a routine. It becomes nourishment for her soul. For the first time, she begins to see herself not through the opinions of people, but through the eyes of God. She realizes she is not just someone's partner, someone's helper, or someone's second choice. She is a daughter of the King. God is no longer her backup plan. He becomes the foundation of her life. The third lesson is that God sometimes removes crutches so she can learn to stand. Many people depend heavily on others for approval, comfort, and direction. But a woman who relies only on people may never discover the strength God placed inside her. So God begins removing the things she leaned on. Sometimes it is people. Sometimes it is plans, routines, or the need to control everything. At first, it feels like loss, but eventually she realizes it is freedom. When the things she thought she needed fall away, she discovers the one thing she truly needs: God Himself. God is not tearing her life apart. He is setting her free from things that were never meant to carry her future. Another powerful truth she learns is that pain can become a teacher rather than an enemy. Pain has a way of pushing people closer to God. Many women discover their deepest prayers during their hardest moments. When everything else is stripped away, faith becomes real. The story of Hannah in the Bible shows this clearly. She was misunderstood, mocked, and deeply heartbroken. yet her pain pushed her into deeper prayer. In the place of tears and surrender, God answered her with a miracle. Pain often prepares the heart for purpose. The struggles of today can shape the strength needed for tomorrow. Some women never discover their calling until hardship forces them to seek God more deeply. What feels like breaking may actually be shaping. Another beautiful transformation happens during this lonely season. She begins to rediscover who she truly is. When the opinions of others grow silent, God begins to speak more clearly about her identity. Instead of seeing herself as rejected or forgotten, she begins to understand that she is chosen. Instead of believing she is broken, she starts to see that she is becoming stronger. In this quiet place, she begins to recognize the strength of women in Scripture, the courage of Esther, the loyalty of Ruth, the leadership of Deborah, and the surrender of Mary. Their stories remind her that God often uses women who have walked through hidden seasons of preparation. Her solitude slowly becomes a sanctuary. Her silence becomes the place where her faith grows stronger. Because there is a kind of faith that can only be built in solitude. It is not casual faith or convenient faith. It is faith that has been tested by storms and strengthened by waiting. This kind of faith does not depend on circumstances. It trusts God even when answers are delayed and when the future feels uncertain. Finally, she begins to understand that her loneliness is not a delay, it is a delivery room. Just as a child grows in the hidden place of the womb before being revealed to the world, God often prepares purpose in quiet seasons. What feels like being overlooked may actually be protection. What feels like being hidden may actually be preparation. God often separates those he plans to elevate. So if a woman finds herself in a season where she feels alone, she should remember this truth. She is not falling apart, she is being rebuilt. She is not being left behind, she is being prepared. And when she finally emerges from that hidden season, she will not be the same woman that entered it. She will be stronger, wiser, and deeply rooted in faith. Because when a woman has no one but God, she does not shrink, she rises.